Hello. Today's quilt project was interrupted by the need to repair chicken saddles. Anybody ever heard of chicken saddles? If you have roosters, and you may eventually find that some of your hens are getting a little barebacked, especially as they get toward their molt. And they're losing feathers anyway, and then the rooster, when he breeds the hens, when he holds on with his toenails, and he tends to rip out feathers on the back, above the tail, and also on the tops of the wings. And one solution is a chicken saddle, also called an apron, depending on who says it. There are different kinds. All of these are older. Some of these were given to me by other people. Some of these I made, especially custom for my larger hens. But here's one in particular. This one has a wide tongue. This part goes between the wings on the back. It's on the back between the wings. And the way you do this is you put it over where the wing attaches to the body. You put that over, you pull the wing all the way through it, get it seated on that joint right there, and then you pull the elastic through and you get on the other side. So it ends up being like this on the wings. Now this particular one has what I call wing flaps. This, to a degree, protects the top of the wings. Sometimes the flaps go up, and it's not the best thing in the world, but some of them, you know, it helps a little bit. This particular saddle is rather wide. This is for a larger hen. Now, the one thing about this saddle is it doesn't protect the lower flank, even though it's a wider saddle for a larger hen. Now, this is another one without the wing flaps. Same exact one with a wide tongue on it that goes between the wings on the back, across the back. And this elastic slides through, so you can put it around the wing, pull it through, put it around the other wing, then you get it straight, and then this part right here tucks underneath the wing. So it's sitting like this, and her wings are folded back over this part here, and it protects the back to a degree. Now sometimes they'll flip upward like this, and you have to flip them back down. Those two are similar. This one is one I designed myself. This is the same thing with the addition of what I call flank flaps. Now I just added a piece of leather to this one because it was too lightweight and it was flipping up a lot, and I added a piece of leather right here. My sewing machine for some reason would not sew through this today, and I actually glued this on with fabric glue. I have to probably find something else to adhere it better. But this particular one is also made for a large hen. But this right here, these flaps go farther down. I made this when I had the Orpingtons. They were much larger, and the regular saddles did not protect the side of the flank, where I've had hens literally ripped open on both sides. When I had my blue Orpington rooster suede, he was about 14 pounds. And when he bred the hens, he was very, trying to balance. His claws would go down and rip the hens open. And he wasn't a very motivated breeder. He never had more than, I think, 5 hens, maybe 6 at one time. But when he did, he was hard on them. So this addition of this flank flap made a huge difference in my large hens, and it's making a nice difference for my Brahma hens now. And I've made them. Here's another one. You can tell how much this has been used. This is faux leather. This fabric here's the faux leather. It's not leather. It's fake leather. You can tell it's tearing apart here. And it's made. This tongue is more narrow. And what I did today is I replaced the elastic on these. The elastic over time gets very stretched out, and then the saddle won't stay on. It slips to the side, and it's pretty much useless. But I replaced all the elastic on these saddles. They probably need to be remade, to be honest, some of these, but they're good enough. This silver material right here is ironing board material. It used to be really stiff. Now it's really wussy from use. But you'll have Usually if you buy things on eBay, you buy a saddle on eBay, you'll get something that looks like this. This is a standard size for a standard hen. You see it doesn't really cover the flanks, but it covers most of the back down to where the tail starts, and has a standard size tongue, and the elastic slips through. This one's given to me by somebody, and I have repaired it over the years. And here's one I made with just ironing board material. The silver, it used to be a lot stiffer, like I said, but see, new elastic. And you'll have to repair the elastic over time. But that was what I was doing this morning. Now, if you've got 100 hens and no roosters, you're not going to need these. These are only for if there's rooster damage. It's not for other things. And if you've got, somebody might say, well, you don't have enough hens for your rooster. That's not necessarily true. Some hens are very submissive. They'll run out and they'll get in the middle of their yard and they'll squat and wait for a rooster to show up. I mean, seriously, that's about what some of them do. Some are extremely submissive and they get bred a lot more than others. Or roosters have their own favorite girls, and they will exclude some to pay attention to certain ones more than others. So it has nothing to do with not having enough hens. But if you have one that she's starting to lose feathers, like my Brahmas right now. Bash has 6 hens. One is broody, so she's not out there with them all the time. And so he's got 5. They're starting to show damage. In fact, Bailey's missing most of the feathers on her back right now. I just put her saddle on her, and I realized that I needed to fix up all the saddles in the barn that I have left. There's only one saddle I didn't put a new elastic on, and that belonged to my late black Americana hen, Gypsy. We recently lost Gypsy. Gypsy was a very lean-bodied hen, like most Americanas are, and I had to make her a special saddle, a very small saddle, because all these others were much too big. Even the standard size, even this standard size was much too large for Gypsy, and I had to make her a special extra small one. It made me miss her even more seeing her saddle in there. But it's the only one I didn't repair. And the only, I think her saddle would fit Tiny, the terrorist, my terrorist attack hen, but she doesn't have a rooster, so it's irrelevant. Anyway, if you, like I said, if you got 100 hens, you can't put saddles on all those hens, and I wouldn't advise unless they actually starting to have feather damage that actually exposes their skin to the rooster's nails. It's not usually the spurs that cause the damage. It's the nails, the gripping, and then he slides down and he pulls the feathers out. And when the feathers are gone, that's when you get the problem. So, chicken saddles. And I do like these that have and you can get other ones with a more standard size, what I call the tongue here. This section here. This is extra wide for a larger hen. And a lot of times this will protect the tops of the wings. A lot of times it won't. It just, sometimes it does flap up. Sometimes the saddle will flip up over her head. Now, when you first put a saddle on a hen, now make sure it's seated under her wings really well, right, that joint that goes all the way to the body. The elastic is right there over at the body. Get the entire wing out of that elastic. And then when you tuck it under her, put her wings over the sides of the saddle as it goes down over their sides. And you'll have some interesting reactions. Some of them will walk backwards. They'll pick at their, the elastic, because they're not used to that on them. They get used to it in no time. But I mean, I've had some hens start to walk. They'll run backwards trying to get it off, because they're like, get it off, and they'll run into trees. I've seen, not my rooster, but I've seen roosters attack hens who are freaking out over their saddles. The hen's running and screaming or running backwards, and the rooster will start flogging her. He's not attacking the hen. He's trying to solve a problem he doesn't understand, and he may actually see that thing on her and try to get it off of her. She's freaking out. He's like, that's something not supposed to be there. I've got to do something about that. So he's not attacking her necessarily. He's just trying to solve a problem. He doesn't understand the problem, and he doesn't understand how to solve it. But they calm down. They calm down, and you can leave the saddle on for, I mean, up to, you know, it's like 3 weeks at a time. There, you can leave the saddle on until their feathers start to grow back underneath it. But, you know, they can't fully dust bathe with that on. So I would advise that you, every couple of weeks, you might remove the saddle for a day or so, let them dust bathe, and, you know, and give them some freedom without that, and then put it back on if it's still, they still need it. But I've had hens wear saddles for 2 months at a time, with a, you know, break for dust bathing every couple weeks, and their feathers have grown back underneath there, and they do protect from the roosters. Some roosters won't even touch the hens with a saddle on. They're like, ugh, I don't know what that is, and others just they try anyway. They don't care. So you'll have different reactions by the hens and the roosters to these saddles. I call them saddles. Some people call them aprons. But in any case, they're very useful. And like I said, the elastic will stretch out, and you will have to replace that elastic. I always keep a roll of elastic here just for that purpose. And I didn't need to do this over the winter. But now, and I hate to do it when it's getting warm weather, honestly, because the Brahmas pant anyway, but after having to clean crusted dirt out of ripped open sides on hens in years past, when, you know, and feathers hide a multitude of sins. You cannot see that unless you run your hand under the wing. You won't you may not find this big open wound festering under there. So if she starts avoiding the rooster, and literally, I mean, to an extreme degree, literally screaming, running from him, and hiding from him, you may want to check out the hen. One of Hector's girls, she was acting very strange like that, more than normal, more than, don't bother me, don't bother me. She was really freaking out, and I got her and checked her out, and yes, she had an open wound on her side. So and the same hen's losing feathers now, so I've got to put one of these saddles on one of Hector's hens, and it helps to have them around. You don't have to put them on every hen, but you do need to put them on the ones that have lost enough feathers that their backs are exposed a little bit, and you can't really feel any protection on their sides. They need those. And it's only temporary, and it usually solves the problem. So that is my little lecture on hen saddles, hen aprons, whatever you want to call them. So, and you can find them on eBay. I don't make them. Don't ask me. Don't call me and say make me some, because I just repair these things. I'm trying to get a quilt finished, and I had to stop to do this today because I need about 4 or 5 of these now, and the elastic was stretched so far there's no way they would work. So and also, anytime you see my fingers this season, they're going to be looking really ragged and with dirt under the fingernails, because this is garden season, people. So there you go. Hen saddles, hen aprons, either way. If you look for them on eBay or wherever you look for them, Etsy, eBay, they might be called saddles and they might be called aprons. And they also go by sizes too. These wider tongues are for big Orpingtons or Brahmas or Jersey Giants. Most hens would just have the standard ones. This little standard size will fit most of these hens. But if you have very small bodied birds, such as the very lean bodied true Americanas, a lot of the Easter eggers are chunky. They're pretty average. But are you talking about the true Americanas, the lean bodied birds, or even a bantam? I've never had to put that on a bantam. But the lean bodied birds might need something even smaller than this. So, or tighter elastic or something. But this is just too big for even Gypsy, so I had to make her very own. But, and you know, you can trace. This does have batting in it. It does have batting. It's two-sided and it has batting inside of it. It's not just fabric. It does have batting to have it, give it a little bit of weight and padding. And you can make them out of faux leather. You can make them out of ironing board, the silver ironing board fabric that goes on top of ironing boards, reflective material, which might be good in the summer actually. Or just plain old good sturdy cotton with cotton batting in it. So there's the little lesson on chicken saddles / aprons. And any questions, just leave them below. Talk to you guys later.